I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, viewer mailbag here. I get a lot of comments and questions, and I get stuff, people email me all the time on Vancouver real estate, and I try and get back to as much as I can, but a lot of it I try and just address on my blog here. So let's do this. Here's one that I get a lot over the last few years. He says, Owen, I try every year to increase my credit score, increase my annual salary, increase my down payment, and every time I think I've done enough, the brokers tell me that I don't qualify for a mortgage. The rate I increase my financials is not as quick as the prices of real estate that are going up. It travels to the stratosphere too quickly, and I can't keep up. So yes, I feel for this guy, and this is why I always make fun of those people on these chat boards and stuff saying, oh, it's so easy to buy a home here, and the banks will lend you as much money as you want, and if I really wanted to, I could buy, no problem, but I'm waiting for the market to crash, and then I'm going to buy in. Sure you are. Yeah. I mean, I've said many times here, this is the toughest, I think it's got to be one of the toughest countries in the world to qualify for a mortgage here. They are not cavalier lenders like they were back in 2008 in the US. You've got to give your right arm here now to be able to qualify for a mortgage. And like those blogs I've been doing here this spring, the blog I did just recently, how it's not going to get any easier. And how it's your wake-up call here. The banks are just keep tightening and tightening and tightening and ratcheting up the requirements to buy a home. And that's why I tell you, governments are not your friend. They talk a big talk that they want everyone to be able to buy a home and get into home ownership. They don't. They're keeping you out of home ownership with all their meddling, all their taxes, all their bureaucracy, telling the banks who they cannot lend money to and what the requirements you're going to need to get a mortgage. So this, again, I tell you guys, this is your wake-up call. You've got to make it work now because it's not going to get any easier. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to get far worse here in the next 5 years. We're going to end up just like New York City or London, if you want to be in downtown Vancouver, millionaire or multimillionaire, or you're going to be renting. Those are going to be the inhabitants of downtown Vancouver. But it's never too late. I've had lots of condo sales this past spring, under $1,000 a square foot, concrete, and lots of really prime units around $1,100 a square foot. It's still doable. Now, I know $1,100 a square foot or $1,000 a square foot or even $850 a square foot is unaffordable for a lot of people. And yes, I agree. But that's what's considered affordable entry level. The new stuff getting built moving forward is going to be closer to $2,000 a square foot and up. So keep that in mind. What I would say to this guy, he didn't give me enough details. I don't know where he's looking. Is he looking to buy in downtown Vancouver? I kind of think he probably is. What I would say to this guy is you need to get a foothold in the market, and I've done lots of blogs on this. Go to a place that's a little more affordable or a lot more affordable. How about Richmond Brighouse on SkyTrain? There are some fantastic older wood frame stuff in that area because I own some of them. There's not a lot of inventory. You got to wait. You got to get the right realtor and pounce on a good one that hits, because some of those stratas in that price range are a mess. I wouldn't go near them with a barge pole. Others, when they hit, you offer on them, they're going to sell quick. You're probably going to get in a bidding war. But you can pick those up around $400,000, $380 maybe for a unit that needs a full reno, to $425. SkyTrain out in New Westminster, you can get some good value out there. Start with a studio unit, maybe in the mid threes. Or if you have to, go further out. Go to Coquitlam or Port Coquitlam or something on SkyTrain. So I would say priority for this guy, the way it's been going for him, he's not keeping pace. You've got to make a jump here. Go to a place where you can afford. Go further out, try and stay on SkyTrain, and shrink the size of your unit, of course, and perhaps the age of the unit, and maybe something that needs a renovation. Live in it unrenovated. You've got to make the sacrifices, is what I would tell him, because I agree. I don't think it's getting any better. I think the prices of real estate are going to go up at a quicker pace than most people's incomes, and that's just the way it is. It'd be better to get a foothold in the market first, and then keep saving your money, put some sweat equity into the property, renovate it, improve it. That might be the way to go. Or I've often said on some of my other videos, there's no shame in leaving the Lower Mainland. I know it sucks. I know there's a lot of people out here that are born in Vancouver and feel entitled to own in Vancouver. Unfortunately, that's not the way it is these days. You're not entitled to anything. Vancouver is a world destination city for a lot of people, not only from the rest of the country, but from other parts of the world that want to live in a city as great as Vancouver. So you've got not just competition from locals anymore, that's for sure. But I've had many clients that have moved out of the Lower Mainland, moved to Manitoba, moved to Alberta, and I've also had clients over the last 10 or 15 years that moved away, were living in were born here, lived here for a while, moved out of province, and then came back, and I've sold them recently a condo or a townhouse in Vancouver or in the Lower Mainland. So no shame in that. Going to a less expensive jurisdiction, especially if you can earn similar money or the same money that you earn here, where the real estate is at two-thirds of the cost. Not a bad way to go. I think that would probably be what I would suggest, as opposed to getting into that renter treadmill, which can get dangerous here when you're paying $2,800 a month for a one bed. Final thing, it kind of ties into one of my longtime viewers, nice guy. He comments a lot in my YouTube channel. He owns some real estate. I think he owns a couple of investment properties. But he was talking about the West End. He says part-time he does some deliveries for DoorDash. So he's in all these buildings in downtown Vancouver. And he's really impressed with some, not all, some of these older wood frame strata in areas like the West End. He talked about one on Nelson Street that you go into the lobby and it has a beautiful interior courtyard with the units surrounding the courtyard. I've blogged about this. I have several buildings in the West End that I'm continuously selling in. I've got one now. It's a concrete high-rise in the West End. I'm getting ready to offer one on there on Tuesday. I probably have 12 clients. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, I'm not going to give you the name of the strata. I've offered, I think, on every one bedroom that's been listed in there over the last 2 years I've been a part of. Usually, sometimes they're principal residence buyers, sometimes they're investors. I have always keep a couple of buyers in the queue for the next unit that comes up in there. And that's exactly what's happened here. This guy's been waiting in my queue for 6 months patiently. He was number 3 in line. I just sold the last 2 one beds. Another one bed just hit. He's in line, and we're going to offer it on for him. Really well run, older strata sitting on a prime piece of land. Down the road, 15, 20 years from now, the exit strategy on this will probably selling it to a developer. They'll probably give you double, 2.5 times your tax assessed, and they'll build a 55-story luxury high-rise. And this is the best because it is west of the Burrard Street Bridge, and that is where you start to get into the prime properties. The southwest exposure ones are unobstructed English Bay. Just to give you an example, we've been buying these one beds under 600K, low sixes for the ones that have the southwest exposure with world-class views. So, but there's a number of other older low-rise wood frame ones that I agree with this guy that are absolute gems. So maybe this guy that's, his mortgage broker keeps telling me he doesn't qualify. For downtown Vancouver, that might be the best value as far as price per square foot. Some of the older wood frame stuff, and even with this one I'm talking about, the concrete one, you're going to need to do renos on these. But hey, you can piece that together after you move in. Live in it unrenovated for a while, rough it, and then as you save your money, renovate the kitchen and the bathroom and go from there. But don't sleep on these for sure. And this guy had made a comment. I agree. There's a number of real gems in the West End. There's also some good ones, as I say, on SkyTrain out in Richmond, some good older wood frame that, again, it's a waiting game on these. You wait for one to hit and then you've got to pounce on it pretty quick. I'm Owen Bigland. I want to thank all my new subscribers. I'm coming up to over 10,000, hit 10,000 subscribers on here. Haven't plugged my book for a while either. Want to plug my book, Along for the Ride. This is a great door opener for people. It's still a bestseller on Amazon, $10. Buy it on Amazon.ca. Thanks for everyone too that's been reviewed my book on Amazon. I'll see you guys next week.